TIFU by not seeing a dentist for a decade with a broken tooth and finding something awful in the hole. I, 43F, have a severe dental phobia. My husband has to take the kids to the dentist because I just cannot be in the building. I brush and floss to try and minimize the need, but then this happened. About a decade ago, I bit into something crunchy and a tooth snapped in half. It didn't cause any pain, so I left it. I brushed as usual, flossed as usual, but I found that I had a really bad taste in my mouth. I bought an electric floss thing that uses water and tried that. Foul-smelling food fell out. I was mortified, but I found the solution and carried on. My usual routine. Cut to decade later. It's nighttime. I brush my teeth, floss my teeth, and use the electric flosser. I do a quick visual check to make sure the hole is clear when I see something. I grab some plastic tweezers that I have, and I start to dig around. I think I have it, so I pull it out. It was a hair. A disgusting, discolored hair wrapped up in my tooth with clumps of food stuck to it. I am so mortified that I just stare at it in horror. I have no idea how this happened and I hate myself. The next day, I called the dentist and made an appointment. I'm having the tooth extracted in a week and I can't wait. TLDR. I broke a tooth, didn't see a dentist because of phobia for a decade, and pulled an actual hair out of the hole in my tooth. Have an appointment to see the dentist in a week.
Tell them about your fears and ask them to prescribe, or something to terrified of heights. But 5 milligrams of has me looking out the window at all the wonderful scenery for the entire flight.
Sound advice. I have to be medicated for checkups and sedated for treatment. OP can get help, it's a common phobia and they shouldn't have to suffer.
This is truly nightmarish stuff.
I have a severe needle phobia. My dentist prescribes me exactly 1 dose of Xanax before I have to come in for anything that involves Novocaine. Works like a...
As a dentist, the fact people can live with the pain of an infection eating away their face bones before coming to me is something I cannot understand.
Look for dentists that offer sedation dentistry. They can give you a pill before going into the office to help with anxiety.
Because the pain of having a tooth extraction done at 15 when the anesthetic hasn't kicked in yet sucks. That's promise, it leaves you scared and fear is a dangerous thing.
I have a similar scenario except I can't financially afford a dentist. Disappointed.
I've had some dentists who didn't use enough local anesthetic for impacted wisdom teeth, and when I told them it was excruciatingly painful, they told me to man up and deal with it while they were cutting into my jaw. Dentists are some of the most sadistic medical professionals out there in my life experience.
It's not the physical pain that bothers me, it's not having any clue how much it's gonna cost and knowing I probably just won't end up paying it if too much.
Reminds me of the time I ignored a broken tooth until I got an abscess and experienced some of the worst pain of my life. I finally got the tooth extracted and I was looking at the gaping hole left by it, using a dental mirror and another mirror, and could see something white. I thought at first, is that gauze? Poked at it with a dental pick and it was hard. Did they leave some of the tooth in? Nope. It was my jawbone. Got a weird feeling seeing part of my own skeleton. Hope it never happens again, in any context.
I lost half a filling around 20 years ago and the hole keeps getting can't afford any sort of dentistry, so I figure I'll probably just die when it gets bad enough.
OMFG, are you me? Had to get 2 teeth extracted when I was 15 before I got braces. First shot of anesthetic, nothing. 5 to 10 minutes later, could still feel everything, so I got another dose. A total of 4 doses, and then the orthodontist just decided I was lying, and started ripping out my teeth, while I was screaming in pain. I recently chipped a wisdom tooth, I was 41 at the time, and it still took me about a month before my wife forced me to get it checked. Luckily, the extraction experience was much improved this time.
I've taken for dental phobia when getting fillings when I was younger. Unfortunately it did jack for me other than make me sleepy afterwards. I do have an unusually high anesthetic tolerance though, so that could have something to do with it. Either way, there are dentists out there specifically equipped for high anxiety patients. They can prescribe as well as other medications, and are generally much more patient and understanding than other dentists. I'm mostly over my phobia nowadays, but still go to the same high anxiety dentist. He even has a therapy dog.
I feel so blessed living in a country with public healthcare. I needed an extraction and paid £23 for an X-ray and £65 for an extraction. The NHS might be underfunded and overworked, but I count our country lucky every day for having it.
That's pretty terrific, honestly. In the US, I had a tooth extracted years ago for reasons similar to Op. It cracked all the way into my jaw. Extra X-rays and stuff to confirm the crack were about $500 because it wasn't part of a regular checkup. Then the extraction was another $500, but add in another $300 for sedation because it wasn't medically necessary to use more than just Novocaine, but I couldn't bear the thought of getting a tooth pulled with while I was awake. So $1,300 to remove a tooth. Because of where it is, if I don't get an implant, the bone will wear away and my jaw can break eventually. Implant, all told, is going to be around $7,000 out of pocket for me.
The fact that you can't understand is why I haven't been to see you.
Money is a big problem. Even with insurance they accepted and then refused on coverage. Living in an area where I make too much for any aid and or support and make too little where I can actually save for it is where the question of where $1,000 plus to have some of the preliminary issues resolved versus Tylenol here and there is really the barrier. I'd need 3x extractions, a root canal and 3x implants. Like I get how having my teeth fixed is life-changing, but falling into the middle of the pack with income is why I am basically. Also had emergency vet bill on a cat and emergency car issues. I'm not disagreeing with you, but even I the cheapest cost. It's qualify either for a payment plan due to a bankruptcy during the Bush Jr. recession.
Your teeth are also part of your skeleton. You can see your skeleton every day.
Weirdly enough, my fear of heights only kicks in when the thing I'm in isn't supposed to move. Bridges, buildings, railings.
Really thought you were going to pull out a maggot at first. I'm on Reddit too much, I guess.
Find a dental school near you and get it taken care of for free.
You're very lucky to not have an abscess in your jaw. The infection that can spread through your bloodstream can literally
I had a bad wisdom tooth extraction. I had what you call hooks where the roots curl 90 to 180 each wisdom tooth has 4 of surgeon had to shatter each wisdom tooth and pull out the roots the months passed after the surgery. I get shards of tooth coming out of the socket and then one day a big sharp white piece came out. I kept it and showed my dentist. She was like, that surgeon was a piece of your jaw.
This is a nightmare I didn't need to know could happen.
Saw my jawbone when I got a dry socket after having my wisdom teeth pulled. You aren't kidding about the weird feeling of seeing your own bone. I got super woozy and dizzy.
My dentist is an man. I finally gathered the strength after 5 years to go last week, only to be shamed about how I took care of my teeth. I've been saying for years it didn't matter what I did, I always have cavities. I've read online it's totally possible, but they won't hear it and make me feel like I am the of the earth. He almost had me bawling in the room. Not to mention I was horrified the whole I did communicate to the staff that I was petrified to be too. Thank you everyone for the comments. You guys are awesome. I will definitely look for another dentist.
Go see someone else.
Believe me, I'm working on it ASAP.
Find a different dentist. I got the you're young, healthy, we don't need to take care of your pain talk 3 times, instantly walked out each time. Found my current dentist who medicated before and after when it was something like a tooth removal. Non-dentists exist, you just have to look around.
Heads up, this doesn't squaze work if you're super anxious. Source: me, who was given a pill before going to the doctor for some shots and then a second pill when the first didn't work, which still didn't knock me out. Didn't kill effects until after the MRNT when I finally calmed down. The guy at the gas station had 2 heads. I cried because I wanted to see the Petco fish, and then passed out once home.
First time I went they gave me Halcyon. I was whistling after my root canal. Never needed it again for subsequent trips because that first one went so well.
Yeah, I had impacted wisdom teeth that were all kinds of up, and while my surgeon had to break the teeth up, they sure as didn't leave any. Surgeon was a brute. What did he use? A chisel and hammer? Miniature jackhammer? Maybe a crowbar? I hope you sued the. It sounds like they put you through.
This is how I overcame my dentist fear. I know it doesn't make sense, but first time I left from the chair before they did anything. Second time I was dozed and they took out 2 wisdoms. Now that I was finally in the time. Started as normally. Felt like it took some time. Doctor goes and fetched second doctor. Together they work on my 1 tooth. I lost the track of time. Later it turned out that the procedure took over 2 hours and they had to use surgical tools, and part of my upper jawbone chipped. Were the sweetest doctors. That really tried to make me feel as secure as possible. After I survived the ordeal of getting 1 tooth broken into small pieces and cut out, I am like, it cannot get worse than have 1 left. Now I have chipped a filled cavity, so got to go soonish. So my overcoming of fear was to believe it is not gonna be any worse than it has been before. It was way worse, and I survived.
I did this in high school, took 3 doses and didn't feel it until after the appointment.
That takes me back to the one time I didn't go to my acquaintance for dental work. Known her since I was a kid and she took care of my teeth well. Silken hands, never a bit of pain. Then I bit a granola bar wrong and broke a filling. And #X200B, I got it in my head to go to a different, more expensive dentist. When the dentist didn't want to give me a note for my work for the time I was there, I is gonna. And #X200B. 7 anesthetic injections and I still had feelings in the tooth. Doctor was me into minutes of my white-knuckled grip on the chair and a horrified expression out of a clockwork orange, and then she realized I was very much in pain. I nearly confessed starting World War I, World War II, and that I was thinking of starting World War II. Not even an apology. I still paid for the $150, never again.
My wife had a fear of the dentist for the longest time, and I eventually figured out why. Lidocaine doesn't work on her. She didn't realize it though. It does do something, but not very much. This is how she experienced anesthetic her whole life, so how would she know it's not normal? Asked dentist to use a different anesthetic and now she can get dental work. To anyone reading this that wonders if it applies to you, if you can feel anything besides a little pressure and tugging, the anesthetic isn't working.